Right, today is November 3rd, and we are going to continue here working in Lumion, right? And well, let's start by see if we can address any problems that we're still having, let's say, in the software. Unfortunately, this software, although it's very good, it is a very heavy, computer software, right? To install it, it takes about 25 gigs of space to install the software, right? And then to run, technically, you need a pretty fast computer unless you lower all the settings, so this way it's not relying so much on your graphics card, right? To be able to run this. So again, if you look,
yeah, I completed my work if my Brio VR.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. So, okay, so you put the link there and everything?
In the chat, I didn't know how to put it in the Dropbox.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, you put it in the chat, right? Okay,
Yeah.
Manuel. Okay, well, give me a second just before I'm just gonna put it in the right folder. So I have it. Let's see here. Student folder. This is Emmanuel, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Emmanuel, let me find this. Okay, so I dropped it into the Ubrio folder. Do you have access? Do you have access to the Dropbox?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Let's try something else. And the reason why you couldn't drop it into the Dropbox, or?
Yeah, I didn't know how to put like a link in the folder.
Like typically all you do really is, let me show you. Let's see, what is it? Like if this is your thing, right? The Brio VR, really all you do is, you see this little, looks like a logo.
I cannot see it.
Oh, okay, let me try again. 1 second. Okay, how about now? So can you see me?
Yeah.
All right, so if this is your, let's say your browser, right? And here's your address, the Brio. All you do is you see this little lock over here, right? Just click here with the left mouse and just drag it like this, right? And drop it in your folder, and that will drop a link to that.
Okay, got it.
And then from my side, what I see here is this. It gives me a Google Chrome link, right? Which I can click here, and it will take me straight to your file.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, perfect. All right, so yeah, so let's start, because I assume some things here are dealing with computer issues, right? So if you look at my settings here right now, I have everything at the highest possible setting, but and which means things are moving here. We have shadows in real time. We have water moving in real time. We have some idea of reflections. So and this is relying heavily on your graphics card, right? So if your graphics cards maybe it's not as fast, then you're gonna hear it, working really hard, with his fan, trying to cool itself down, right? What you can do in the end, is you can try to lower the settings of what you see over here, in the viewport, right? So that's not really trying to use up all the energy from the graphics card. So if you go here to settings here, right, you see over here on the bottom right, a little wheel there. I didn't say benchmark, but okay, it's running a benchmark again. Okay, so benchmark is fine. Okay, let's go back. Okay, we'll get this here. No, let's go back to files. So files here, we're not gonna touch anything. Let's go here to settings. Yes. All right, so settings here, right? So we see they have first of all, the editor quality is what you see in the viewport. I have in mind really high, to like super high quality. That can be dropped down, let's say, to medium quality, low quality, right? And then the editor resolution, that's the quality of the things you see in your viewport, right? So let's say if I go from 100% down to 25%, right? And do again, and closes, right? And go back here, you're gonna see a very drastic difference, right? You see a difference here, right? In a way, what it did here is it dropped the viewport resolution very low, right? So I no longer have anything, that is HD, high quality. Everything is more pixelated. It still actually, it still has the water moving, reflections here, the leaves moving. So, it still has a lot of detail. It's just what it did here, it made your viewport quality very low, right? So that's the first thing you can do. If that's still, struggling with the computer, you can now lower what you see here. You can lower it to the point where you don't see shadows, right? Anywhere, right? You don't see water moving, right? Because those things take up time from the graphics card. If I go again to settings here, right? And I go, let's say from super high quality here, let's say we drop it down to like low quality. So now we're in the lowest quality possible, 25% and 1 star for the quality of the of everything. And let's go back. See, now we have, you know, a super simple scene, right? There's, if you notice it, there's no shadows anywhere, right? No shadows. See, we see even the outline of the lines here, you know, are almost like a staircase, right? The jagged, right? That means that we have a very low quality viewport, right? So this would definitely use up much less computer power from your graphics card. And again, you can still move here the same, you know, everything's same. And when you render, it will still be the same quality rendering, right? It won't be, but you know, but you'll be able to work much more efficiently, you know, without having to burn out your graphics card. So, you know, settings here, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to.
So, you know, try that. You know, if that doesn't work, then we can try reaching out to a manual and see if we can do like a VDI, you know, system to be able to, you know, log in through your computer and access that school's computer, right? Which is a little bit quicker.
All right, if I
Yeah.
ever need to troubleshoot later, can I get the correct email so I can reach you quicker?
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
there any-
yeah, it should be. Let me see. I'll put it in the chat 1 second. Let me go
Thank you.
here. I don't know why I miss. I mean, I do get so many emails per day that sometimes it's you know, I go past. I'm gonna put it here. This is the same as my Cititech email, just because it's Gmail, you know, it's more reliable. Just
Yeah.
ebetasolano@gmail.com. You know, my school one is ebetasolano@cititech.cuny.edu, but I find this to be more reliable sometimes.
Okay,
Okay. All right.
thank you.
Let's see here. All right, guys. So I assume some of you guys, did you guys get to this point? You know, trees, putting materials, you know, everything we did in class, you know, when we met last time.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Any things you struggled with or you found difficult in the program?
For me, actually, when I was going from Max to Lumion,
Yeah.
it didn't let me for some reason. It gave me an error.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why, but so what I did instead is I saved the Lumion, the Max file to a was it
FBX or 3ds
yeah.
file?
FBX?
Okay.
Yeah, and then that just like saved me more time.
That's
I'm
strange.
not
Yeah.
sure why.
Okay. Yeah,
Is
because it should open the Max file directly.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah,
And it-
everything turned out fine after that.
Okay. Good. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I had a problem, Professor.
Okay.
I was able to load in the context for like the surrounding area, but
Yes.
then it wouldn't let me like put grass on the ground around the pavilion. Like it was like I guess it was like just covered by the context or something.
Yeah, you mean, you know, loading buildings from the site or those things?
Yeah.
Yeah, those things. Yeah, you won't be able to do anything on Lumion. You can apply materials, you can apply grass, just whatever. It becomes just simple kind of white massing model. So it's a bit limiting in that sense.
Oh, okay.
So that's yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, that's you know, that's one limitation with the software, that whatever buildings you import, let's say context, it cannot be modified. So yeah, that's one thing that they should do better. Okay, what else, guys? Come on. Okay, so I think, you know, we want to stay with this model here, right? To make it as detailed as possible. You know, we still have a bit of work to do here. You know, and then, you know, eventually once we get to the next software, which is Twin Motion, and actually they just released a new version. So just check that you have the latest one. We'll explore, you know, a different project, but here, you know, we can do a lot here. And this project is still fairly early. Today, you know, I want to kind of go through here, explain more details to refine the quality of the renderings. And I also want to start talking about night rendering. So we're gonna start looking here and how we can start to create artificial lights, you know, for this scene, right? Just to make it more precise, right? And we discuss how different ways that we could, you know, create lights here or use 3D Max as a way to help us create lights in a certain space, right? All right, let's see here. And also one thing very important here is that we didn't cover last time is how do we copy things, right? You know, in 3D Max, if you want to copy, let's say this chair, what do I do, right? For example,
Hold down control.
control, it says control or see. I always get confused because let's say if I hold down this thing, let's say here. No, in 3D Max, you hold down the shift key.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I believe, you know, again, it's probably different in Rhino. You know, it's different in Lumion, and it's different also in Twinmotion. So it's just, I wish they were all just gonna get together and figure this out, but everyone has their own key they wanna use for how to copy things. And in Lumion, you know, it's not that hard. You know, the main thing to copy anything here is, first of all, you have to be able to select the object, right? So, and for that, you have to be able to select the right category on the left side here. So let's say if I'm here in the one called transport, right? You know, if I go here to select, I can't select the chairs, you know, I have to be in the right. So these chairs were added under the indoor category. So I'll select indoor. And now you can see here, I can select the chair, right? And to copy a chair or any object, you first of all select it, right? And you hold down the Alt key. That's the Lumion way. So hold down the Alt key, and then we can drag it and copy it, you know, multiple times, which makes life a lot easier, right? And then we can always, you know, delete it afterwards. So that's the thing that, you know, it gets confusing because when you're switching between 3D Max, let's say Lumion and Twinmotion, they tend to change, you know, how to, you know, copy basic things. You know, I know that 3D Max is Shift, Lumion is Alt, and I believe Twinmotion is also Shift, which is good for us to make it more, you know, efficient. But first, look at the model here. I want to see, and I do see, if you guys look at this shot, do you see a mistake here somewhere? Try to correct small things just to get it really nice.
What was your question? Sorry.
Do you see any mistake in this viewport?
The
The
roof.
roof is
It's the
levitating.
roof. It's
Yeah, so this I just noticed this, you know, I'm not sure why the roof looks like it's missing the underside here. So it's completely transparent. Look, the top is fine. But when I go down, so this I just noticed. So let me just, let's take a look at it here in the actual file, because ideally it's a pretty simple thing to fix, right? So this is the, I'm gonna select this, isolate it, right? Yeah, and it appears to be missing the what? The underside, right? So I must have exploded this thing at one point, right? And erased the, so again, this is a very simple fix. Might as well, you know, do it properly now, but let's select, you know, these two shapes, do isolate, right? I'll go here to box, right? Make sure I turn on my my snaps, right? And I'll do F3 so I can see the bottom here. I'm just gonna retrace the box to the right edge, higher this one, right? Okay, so now I can have made a new shape over the other one, right? So the main thing now is we can just delete the other one. So I'll turn off my snaps, right? I know it's this red shape, which is, appears to be broken the geometry. This one here, so I'm gonna delete that. Watch it, not yet. I want to make sure that before I delete that, let's just move that shape out to the side here, because I do need that shape for one thing, the material that it has, right? And it's the blue one, right? Yes. Oh. Here. So ideally, I need to give the same material to these two, because remember that 3D Lumion relies on simply the material here. So, and to make it easier, you know, when we do refresh in Lumion, we want it to be the same. So I assume it's this one here called the roof, right? So I'm gonna select these two, apply it, right? So now we have the same material as the previous model, right? Delete it. We can do end isolate and simply save it. You know, don't do save as, just save it under the same name, right? Minimize this, and then click on the green button, right, which is the import model. Sorry, not the green one. The one here, the looks like a little house called imported models, right? We're gonna click there. Then I want to select the actual import. In this case, the whole model. So select it, right? Up here, right, on the top right, I'm gonna click this one here, which means refresh the model. Just click it once, give it a few seconds, and see if that corrects this little gap over here.
Oh, Professor, where did you click again?
You see this little like little rotating arrow on the top. But first of all, to get this box here, first you have to click on the actual model that you imported. So
Oh,
you
okay, I see.
so you will click on this little, and you go on the top left, right? Click on this little house, then select and select here. Click on the house, it will all turn green, and then this will show up here on the top right. And then just click on the refresh here. And there we go. So now we got, again, everything correct. That corrected the little gap. And we can do a very quick fix of this. Later, I'll use it again because some things are probably better by doing an import, right? But for now, I think it looks pretty good here. The carpet looks fine. We have some nice shadows here. All right, so let's. One thing I would do when I know last week we did discuss, rendering, right? We discussed some of those different filters that we had, right? Different ways to make it look better, right? And if I go here to my photo file, right, on the top, sorry, bottom right, we did set up, about 5 different shots, and we discussed, different presets, from realistic, and other ones here that are used to improve the quality of the rendering, right? But there's a few other ones that actually are important to get better from the reflection, right? If you see here, for example, this one has a pretty large glass element here. So actually, before I do here, I'm gonna put a few more things here to increase my reflective value. So I'm just gonna go to, well, let's go back up here. Let's go to chairs. I believe we had the Barcelona chair somewhere here. Okay, here we go. Let's put a couple chairs here. All right, and actually, I'm just gonna put one because I'm gonna, I do want to select the chair here, and change the color of the leather to make it more black, and let's put it like this, for example. I'll do the select the chair, Alt, copy that one, then rotate it again. All right, so we have a couple things that are there in my scene, right? Let's see what else we have here. Because I want to look at the reflection on the glass, and that's where typically Lumion suffers the most, right? I mean, it has some beautiful shadows always, right? But reflection, as you can see here, is the one part that is really, really blurry, right? It just looks really fake. And there are some settings here to improve the quality of the reflections, but they're done, individually per shot, not for the entire rendering, just because, it does take a bit more time to render. All right, so let's close that. And let's see. Okay, so let's go back here to, first of all right, this is the space, if I go back here to my photo, right, this is one of my shots, which is, where is it here? It looks like I don't have that shot. Okay, I was testing here. So let's make it this shot over here. I'm gonna move my camera here. There's my shot, right? There's the chairs. We can see here that the reflection here, it's not too bad. I mean, here, really, we don't see much, right? We can play with the glasses, make it look a bit more. There we go. Trying to get a little closer. Okay, I'm gonna capture. So I'm gonna reshot this one here. Can I store camera? So we see obviously some reflection here. It's a little blurry. We see some stuff happening here, right? But it's all just a blur, right? And we see it's pretty bad. So how can we improve here the quality of the rendering? We already have kind of nice shadows in the scene, right? right now, obviously there's nothing here, but we can go here to real skies, right? And we can change the heading here a bit just to get a little bit more shadows here, right? We can play with this like that. We can play, I just want to see, okay, there. That's something like this, right? We can play with the brightness, right? All those things. But overall, if you look over here, all we have here, and we really, even here, even though I have these two chairs, right, that are very close by, right? You don't see them, right, in your shot, right? Let me just do one more thing. I gotta move these chairs a little closer to here, right? At this point, they're pretty much in front of the glass, so technically they should be visible in the glass, right? Let's go closer here. And you do see them a little bit here, right? That's the quality there. Okay. All right, so let's see how we can improve this. And let's compare. So this shot, here that I have here has all these different things that we did, right? We applied realistic settings, right? We applied all these filters, right? If I go here, let's go to shot 6 here and look at the same shot without any filters, So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Take the shot, right? I'm gonna move this shot over here. So we have one shot here that has all the filters, right? And one shot here that is untouched, right? This is the default rendering from Lumia without anything being modified. So in this shot here, which is let me compare the same shot. This shot shows 15 millimeter. This one shows 22. So let's put it the same thing. Want to match the same angle, or at least close enough to this one. So a little closer. All right, that's pretty good. So ideally pretty much the same thing. In this shot that we have, obviously we have better lighting, right? We have some nice shadows along the edges here. The ambient light is quite nice, even outside. The one here that is untouched, that has no filters, the lighting is more blue, doesn't look warm, right? Doesn't look really that nice, right? We see here that we're showing kind of some clouds, right? Even though really you wouldn't see clouds here because behind this is actually another wall, right? In this one here, there's a little bit more refinement here, right? We still see kind of blurred elements here, right? The chairs maybe are not as visible. We can play with the glass here. Also, they're really not visible at all, right? A little higher here. All right, so if we go back, first of all, let's go back to the built environment here. This is the actual, so now we're not in the camera mode, right? We are now in the build mode, right? What we can do is we can insert, if you go here on your bottom left, right? We have different things that we can add here. We have effects, right? So effects pretty much just means water, such things. Sounds, we're not gonna touch, and we have here utilities, right? So under here, we have, a cutting plane, a grid, measurement tool, so we can measure stuff. We can add text, but also here, there's a sphere, right? It's called reflection control, right? So if I click reflection control right here, right? I'm gonna drop it here in this space here, let's say there, right? I can still move it, right? It's selectable, right? I'm gonna put it, kind of in the center of this space, like here, right? What this does, it forces this space to be more precise with the amount of reflections that are there, right? So let's leave it there, see if we see any difference in our shots here. Again, sometimes these things could be very minimal. And let's see here, I see a difference here. I still don't see the chairs, which is the main thing here. So I think we need a little bit more precise things. So let's see how we can do it, right? If I go to the first shot here that already has kind of all the effects here, we have real, we applied realistic, right? We have real sky, sharpen, exposure, color correction, reflection, hyperlight, all these things. Under reflection here, there's some extra tools that we can use to improve this rendering. So let's click in here. So up to now, are you guys following me or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
So right now I have it here as high, right? If I make it low, right? If you look at the reflection here, it gets a little bit, very much like, it looks, like little boxes, like very pixelated. If you go to high, it gets a little bit more refined, but it's still, not really realistic, right? We're seeing clouds here that really should not be there, right? So you see the other part here, this little thing here called edit reflection planes. So with this, we're gonna tell this scene what to consider as a reflection, right? So if I go here to, and I click on edit, right? We get a new shot here, right? And you see down here, right? We're gonna be adding different planes, right? So the first plane I'm gonna click in the bottom here. Let's see. So we go here to add, right? Add plane. You see how this green thing goes around? I'm gonna add this plane, right? That's gonna cover everything there, right? Second, I'm gonna add this glass plane, right? Third, I'm gonna add the ceiling as a reflection quality. Third, maybe I'll add this this wall here. So I added kind of the top, bottom, front, and right side planes as a way that they'll be used to bounce off more reflection, right? Or to be considered as part of the actual model here, right? We could add more, but right now I really don't see anything else we could add here. You know, I could add, you know, the mullions here, right? That's what you see now. It's all added to the actual reflection quality. We can add the chairs, right? And that covers pretty much everything here. Now we can do here in the bottom right, we can do the check mark, right? To confirm our settings. And what this does, it should give you a more precise. You see now the main difference here? Can you guys see it or?
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
so you see that we have this little thing here, right? This little box. That's actually the stuff behind the chairs, right? That's the big glass thing, right? We have this kind of structure piece that's also behind the chairs. And now all this part here that used to be clouds is not, because this stuff is actually this plane here, right? This is the ceiling being reflected on the outside. So, and only the things here are being shown. So we do get a more precise looking reflection, right? Here we get some mullions, right, of the space behind us. Again, it's never going to be as good as V-Ray, right? But it's definitely going to do a huge improvement if we have a space that has a lot of, let's say, you know, glossy elements, right? For example, right? I mean, if we go also here, let's take here, let's take a new shot here. So let's go to this one here, right? Let's find another place where it has a lot of glass. See something like this. Let's go here, right? Here, this is a good shot here. Ideally, you should be able to see like here, these things. I'm going to apply, you know, custom style, realistic style, right? That to give me all these settings, right? That are presets. First thing, you know, let me put a sky that I like. Get some better shadows here, like this, right? That looks pretty good, right? But the main thing is, look here, right? That just looks really bad. You know, we have some beautiful light here. You know, the water looks clear. The shadow looks really nice. A little bit glossy, but if you really look carefully, this is where the rendering starts to fall apart, you know, and looks really fake. So we can do the same thing, right? We can go back to the effects, you know. First of all, you know, we can go to shadow, right, and do ultra sharp. That'll make the ones here nicer, right? We can then go to reflection, right? We can start by saying high, right? You see already a big difference there, right? From low, right? We get like nothing, right? You know, this part here, the shadow line is completely not even shown here. Normal, better, right? We see that being shown there. We see the statue here, right? High, we get a little bit more refined quality, right? So already it's pretty good, you know. But let's go one step further, right? Let's go here to the edit reflection plane, right? Let's go here to plus, right? And I'm going to add the ground plane, right? It's a reflection model. I'll add the glass plane. I'll add the ceiling plane, right? I'll add the this wall, right? I do want to also add the mullions, right? Because this way they become visible, right? And we could also add the water, right? Because it's technically a plane, right? So now all these things should be now considered, you know, in our shot, right? We do here the check mark, right? And let's see if anything will change that. You see a difference now in the reflection?
Yeah, it's much clearer.
Yeah, so if you see, you know, here, right, we see all the detail of the marble, right? Before, you know, it was just a blurred, you know, it was all just blurry, right? No detail. We see a very clear, precise shadow of the statue. We see a precise shadow here. We see a precise shadow of the trees, right? And again, if I compare, look at this part over here, right? We see the same pattern, which is how something should work. Glass acts almost like a mirror, especially so. The same detail should apply to here, right? And we see also here, we see a nice reflection of the material, and we even see the water shown here, right? So this is the main difference, and this is one thing that obviously not everyone does, but it starts to really make that final touch for the quality of the renderings you guys have. Does that make sense, or any questions?
That makes sense. Rafael.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because these things are really what makes the renderings a little bit more like V-Ray, right? Approaching that quality. Again, if I were to render this rendering here, because we have first of all, we have applied, all these different things here, right? I have the shadows to the max, I have reflection to the max. I further went inside and edited the plane, right? This rendering will probably take a bit longer to render, right, in class. So, I mean, if you guys are doing like this, again, we go hit the render photos, right? You don't have to go to like, the max here, I'm okay if you guys do just the smallest size, which is 1280 by 720, right? So if I do this size here, let's say, let's do a test rendering here, whatever this might be. Let's see how long it takes here. So it's gonna show you, it's gonna make 16 passes at that rendering, right? To make the final one. So, in my computer, it should take under 10 seconds. You guys can check, and you can see, it's still a little blurry just because of it's a lower quality, but I'm okay if you guys do it by that size, So if your computer can handle something bigger, just try it out. I never go to poster. That's completely, typically for clients, I might do this one like 1920 by 1080. And for me, I might do print quality, right? Like this. And this rarely, unless it's, it's going to a poster size, which, almost never happens. But this is still a pretty good size to use. So I'm okay with this size for you guys in the class. Right? Okay. So if we go back to this file here, are there any other things that you guys had problems with this model? No? All right. So let's look around here. So let's go back here to the build mode, right? And let's explore a little bit things that we have. So this part here, the utilities, right here area. We did discuss, we have the clip plane, right? Which is like a cutting plane, right? We can put text, that we discuss. And this one here is a measuring tool. So if I click here, right, it's kind of works okay, right? Like let's say I want to know the height of this column here, right? I'm just gonna click at the bottom here. I'm gonna go here, and it's roughly 9.74 feet. So it's pretty, plus or minus, which is, it's not like 3D Max, but I guess if you're working here and you don't feel like going back to 3D Max, or Rhino, and you really want to know what something measures and you forgot, this will give you a pretty good number, so you can figure out, those settings. And this is roughly 9.74 feet from bottom to the top of the ceiling. So that works really good for that. So if you look at if you guys go back to the previous class, the animation class, how is this house also viewed, besides daytime, what makes this house unique, this project? What does it have that's also very interesting?
Lighting.
Lighting is very unique, right? So, and this lighting appears here in different areas, right? So we have lighting, as you guys know, right? Behind each of these kind of elements here, right? There's a light that is hitting the wall here, right? There are lights also. So first of all, the ceiling has no lights anywhere, right? All the lights are kind of on the bottom here, and there's small cavities here where there's a light bulb pointing up, at the scenes, right? That's our secondary light source that we have, right? There is also a light in the background here, right? And there's a light that is hidden somewhere here, right? I believe up here, and it's pointing down and making a spotlight for this statue, right? There's a few lights underwater here, right? To highlight this pool, right? And those are the main lights of the space, right? And if you guys remember, this space many times is used by artists, right? And they do a lot of interesting light elements, right? So I can give you guys an example of this. like here, right? This is going back to this model, different artists might do some pretty cool things with lasers, right? To play with the space. These lights don't really exist, we have things with color, right? There are lights behind the this wall. Also, it's unique. Remember that this wall is it's translucent, right? So in this, it goes between this color, sometimes pink, sometimes green, right? Here are the actual lights, right? And they're pointing here, right? And this is again the same building through an artist, right? And this artist, he put lights along the perimeter of the pool, right? He put them also along the top here, right? Right. So I also want to create something like that, right? I want to be able to have all the different options for lighting. We can see here the lights over here, right, on the floor, right? They're pointing up, right? A few lights here on the water, right? This is the translucent wall, right? We can see the shadow, of the people behind it. What else? This wall sometimes becomes pink. So, I want to be able to capture all those things in our renderings. So we show everything. And again, this person added kind of a neon lights inside the post here, right? And again, they change color. Also, we can put a light here along the perimeter, along the top, just to give it a pretty cool effect in our scene, right? And for that, we'll be probably working between 3D Max and this, just to make some things a little bit easier, because some things, some of the lighting is controlled much easier if we have already an object, defined as a light, right? All right, so that's the idea that I want to create with this, right? Let's go back over here. So the first thing here is this, right? We have lights here, right? Again, this thing that's growing here, maybe now it's not the best thing because it might block my light. So for now, I think I might just take it out, right? So I'm gonna click here, materials, right? I'm gonna click on the wall. And then I'll have here the material. It should be here, the foliage, right? And I'm just gonna, the spread, I'm gonna just make it pretty much nothing. I'm gonna take it away for now. Maybe later I'll bring it back. But for now, let's look at this more carefully. And if you look here, there should be a gap between, small gap there, between here and there, right? For the light. All right, so let's start by putting our first lights here. So before I put a first light here, what should I do in my scene?
Should you make it nighttime so it'll be easy visible?
Exactly, yes, yes. So let's do that here. Let's make it nighttime. So let's go here to weather, right? And we're just gonna simply change the sky, right? And we go to evening, overcast. We can do a night sky here. And we get a couple options here, right? So let's try this one here. Give it a second. All right, so it's dark, right? Obviously we have no lighting in our scene, right? We have a nice area there. So in a way, the real skies, it's a little bit more difficult to work because you can't really control. I mean, if I can go here and change the sky, right? And I might get more light here. Oops. But in that case, let me try maybe in an evening sky. We get a little bit more light in the scene. Okay, let's try an evening sky that. And then we can always go back to light to dark once we have the light set up. So let's start over here, right? So because I can see a little better here, the corner here, right? All right, so let's go back to objects, right? We have, first of all, let's see, where is it? Here we go, lights, right? And these lights here, you will probably recognize, right? This is the same thing as 3D Max. These are the IES lights, right? They're like spotlights, right? And they have different, some of them are very wide, some of them are narrower. So we can try all different ones. For now, I'm gonna try this one here called lamp 2. So simply just click on it, right? And you see we can just move our mouse here and drop it in place. For now, let's put it here. And first of all, let's do escape. We don't see anything right now, right? It's gone. First of all, I need to move the light up. And there it is, right? So the light is kind of pointing down. So we do have to do a little bit of play with the rotate, right? And we can here. It's kind of pointing like that, right? Then I'm gonna go back here. So then we gotta move it to the right. Can I put it kind of right in the middle here, right? We can gonna see it there, right? We can try to go a little closer down. And we can gonna see at what point, you know, it goes below the ground. That looks pretty good. We can try to go back. Not too far, because if I go too far, you see what happens? I get this line here, right? And this line is pretty much the edge of this bench. I don't want to see that line, so I'm gonna move it a little forward. There. So that I get something like this, right? Well, right now it's not centered, but we can just move it. And you see also this line over here, right? This is also the line from the this bench here. So let's see if I can. There, I don't make it. Oh, actually, no. Okay, that's not bad. You probably see that eventually there. And you see it is there. You know why? You see this kind of blue line here, right? You see how far the light reaches, right? To the point that this line here creates a shadow over here, which I really don't like, right? So what we can do here is, again, we are selecting the light, right? Up here at the top right, you know, is where we have our light properties, right? First property here is the color. You know, right now this light is white, but we could make it really any color I want. We can make it blue, green, you know, anything here like this. We can make it to a pink light. And for now, I like a light that's more softer. So I'm gonna give it more orange to the light like this, right? Then we have the brightness of the light, right? Obviously we can make it really bright like this. And then we have the cone, right? The cone is this kind of shape over here, right? So the cone here defines how far the light goes, right? And the smaller the cone gets, right, the less that light is going to reach. So I want to make it the cone a little bit smaller, right? This case, then I'll be able to move the slide back a bit more. Just to refine what you see here again. And then we have a few other things here. We have light source off, right? This is the light source, you know, this thing over here, right? If I turn this on, you're gonna see a little bit something there. You see it? So what it does here, it creates something, right? So this way, when you're looking at the rendering, it doesn't look like the light's coming from nowhere, right? It looks like it's coming from some type of source, right? So if I turn this off, all we get is nothing. So this is something that's good because it renders as something that's there, and it becomes more believable that it's something actually behind the, you know, the wall there. So I'm gonna take this source. I want to rotate it a little bit more down. Like this. Right? Then I'm going to now play with the spread here. That looks pretty good, right? And then we have other things here. So shadows, you know, do you want the shadows from this light to be medium, high, or dynamic, right? So medium shows, okay, high, dynamic. So dynamic, this typically applies to if you're doing an animation, right? So animation requires moving elements. So this makes those things more precise. Like for us, you know, I can put it as high. For me, you know, medium also is pretty good, right? And then night activation mode. What do you think that means, right? Night activation mode.
Do they
Definitely only turn
automatically
on that
turn
light.
on?
What's that? Can you say it again? Sorry. I think
They
quite
only
clear.
turn on at night.
Yes, pretty much so. Let's say, for example, right? Let's say that let's go. The big easiest example is to go here, right? Let me change the turn off the real skies, right? And right now we have here. So let's say right now, obviously it's well, let's go here to first of all, let's pick the light. So let's go here to the lights. Select it. So I'm gonna put night activation on, right? All right, let's go play with the sun here. So right now the light is off, right? Because it's definitely daytime, right? So when I start moving the light here, look, right now obviously it's still off, right? The sun starts to set, still off, still off. When we cross the evening boundary, the light turns on automatically. And if you have that set for all your lights in your space, that means that as you play with your scenes, you make them day or night, the lights will turn off or on automatically, right? Which could be a nice thing to have, to save, time, in your scene, right? So let's say I'm gonna make it now evening here, right? So there's my lights, right? The other option you have here is, let's go back to objects. I click here, is random, right? So why would you use random, for example? Give me a sample, guys. Why do you think I will use a random setting for the lights? Any ideas, or? It gives a space what if it's all random? Mokita, what do you think? Anyone there?
Yes, we are here, Professor.
So
I think
yeah.
it gives more realistic look into it because we are going to copy it next to one another.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Yes. Imagine, you're doing a house, right? You're doing a night shot, if every single light in the house is on, it's gonna look kind of strange, right? It's gonna be too bright. So by making a random, maybe only some rooms will have lights, others will be off, right? It gives it more like the feeling that somebody lives there, right? Because you wouldn't have every single light in your house on at night, right? That'd be kind of crazy. So, the idea is to make it feel like somebody's there, right? So random works sometimes, to give you that feeling, right? For this, I do want every light on at the same time, right? So in that case, it's important for now, keep everything as on, right? And the next thing here is now we have more lights. We have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more lights, right? So this is where you want to do the copy, right? So pretty much, we'll select here, right? We'll hold the Alt key, right? And drag it out, right? Just a nice detail. And try to place it, as close as possible as you can. It looks pretty good, right? And let's keep going here. Oops. So also Control C doesn't really work here. So if you make a mistake, Control C is not gonna save you. So again, Alt, copy again. Then I just kind of move around, try to look close here and kind of replace it. Trying to match the other one. Let's move into, looking at this straightforward. Alt key. Get close as possible. Okay, again, move straight on. Alt. And they don't have to be all the same, identical, because again, it gives it a little bit more realism if there's differences between each light. This is as close as possible here. Okay. And we got a couple more. Okay, let's see here. That looks pretty good. And one more here. All right, so let's step back here now that we have those lights, right? And we get something like this, right? All these lights are pointing at the sky. And if I go back, say, to this light here, right? Change the angle. That's the one thing that, it's not ideal that, that it wasn't like a copy. You know, in 3D Max, we can do copy and we can do instance, right? So that means that whatever I change here is gonna change to the other ones, right? So unfortunately here, before you do the copying here, make sure your first light has the settings you want, right? For example, right? So right now, all these lights are on. Otherwise, you will have to go to each one. You know, if I want to change the angle of the light, I do have to go back to it, you know, and change those things, right? Let's see here. But otherwise, you know, I think they look pretty good for now. So that's one light tab that we can use. This is kind of like the spotlight of this, right? And we can see the settings there. And they all have also showing the preview mode, right, of the lights. Let's go back here for a second. Let's try also a light here for the sculpture, right? So because her hands are pointing up, right, it makes sense to put a light here to make it look like she's blocking the light with her hands, right? So let's just take a, you know, take a light here. This time I'll use more like a spotlight. So let's see, something that's more. So let's try something like this one, like number 29. And let's put it here for now. And the rest is just, we're gonna have to play with this light to get it to point in the right direction, right? So this is just a little bit of rotating there. And we can be more precise here, right? We have the different orientation, right? We can do up and down. We can rotate it, or we can go left and right. There it is. We get a nice shot there. Right now, our cone is pretty wide, so I probably don't want to have that. So I'm going to lower the cone of the lights here so we can focus more and maybe even see part of the cone over here, right? So we have this, and we can see we get a pretty nice shadow already of the sculpture right there, right? And we can, you know, again, we can play with this. Maybe, you know, we could give it a color if we want to. We can make it again, night activation on, light source on, okay. Shadows, high quality. You can see here, if I get very close to the shadows, right? You see a look here like a, not really a precise line, right? When I go to high, it gets more refined, right? Dynamic, no change, because dynamic, again, is for animations. So that becomes a really nice light source that we could use in our scene, right? How else could we use lights in our scene here, for example? So again, these lights are all, you know, all the lights pretty much shown here are some type of a spotlight right here, right? And again, the cone would change. And we have 3 light types that we can use in 3D Max, right? Sorry, in Lumion, right? The first one is the one here, which is the spotlights. The second here are called Omni lights. So what do you think is an Omni light? What do you guys think? How would I use an Omni light?
Aren't those like random, like free floating?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a free floating light, you know. It's not really realistic, right? Because we really don't have any floating lights. And these lights are not meant to be seen in your shot, you know. They're meant to be in the background, right? Somewhere in the background where you can't see. So for example, in this shot over here, right? You know, I can see very nicely, you know, these lights over here, right? But maybe I want to get some color behind this wall here, right? So what I'll do here is maybe, let's say here, right? Where I can't see it, you know, because it's away from the camera, I'm going to pick, let's say, a blue light here, right? I'm going to drop it here, right? Then maybe I'll lift it up, you know, so it's higher, right? There's the light, right? Right now, you don't see much because the brightness is very small. But if we increase the brightness here, right, it starts to glow blue, right? So now when I go back here in my shot, you know, what do I get, right? Some things are a bit strange. You know, first of all, I should not be seeing blue over here because the light is behind the wall, right? So this is where this comes in handy, right? They fall off, right? So the fall off here controls how far the light goes past. I mean, again, unfortunately, the intensity is limited to that, So this is not really that precise. Let's see. We see blue here, but unfortunately, the blue starts to bleed here, right? And we see a little bit of blue there, which is not that bad. Here looks pretty good right there. And the fall off is there supposedly to control how far the blue expands, right? So there, so I made it, smaller. So we have a less of a radius of blue expanding, but now it doesn't reach. What I could do here is simply just move the light closer to my scene, right? And again, these lights are not meant to be seen at all, right? They're meant to be lights that are behind a wall and just to create an ambient feeling to the scene, right? Same thing here, and I just noticed these lights should not be kind of lighting up the space because they're up here, right? So what that means is, let's see, I'm gonna click on this light. So what setting did I mess up? So we have brightness, cone, light source on, okay. That's fine. So it looks like there's nothing that we can do for this one, this light cone. Yeah, so I guess, yeah, we have to deal with that, that the lights, it's kind of penetrating this wall, right? And even lighting up this entire scene back here where technically it should be dark, right? I can try to lower the brightness of the light, yeah, but you see that over here, right? The light's not visible anymore. When I go brighter, now it looks pretty good. There's the light bright. Now it's not passing for some reason. Let's try the next one. Okay, now as you select it, it turns off, see? So yeah, looks like it's a little glitchy with that, so I guess we can fix that. So, but that's, again, we're not gonna see it's behind there, it kind of makes it look interesting. This light, again, is meant to be used for like a glowing effect, so you can place it, let's say, where you're not going to be able to see it. So let me move this light. So I will put it maybe close to here, right? So we see the glow of the light there. And we have some glowing effect there. And there's really, there's not really more you can do with those lights. We have here some, basic colors, but the color doesn't really matter because we can technically make it any light, right? We have these are called Omni lights, and this is called a light fill, right? What is a light fill? That's the other type of light we have here. What do you think it does?
Will it just give like light to everything? in the
Yes,
area?
but yes, it gives a bit more light to everything, right? These are called like fill lights, right? So let's see if I can give you an example. So if you do like a photo shoot, right? Imagine that, you're shooting something, let's see, like here, right? You have this subject, right? Let's say this is a pretty cool image here, right? Right? And all these lights that are behind the camera that you would never see, even on top here, right? Those are fill lights, right? And those lights are there to just fill in any shadows, any spots where the natural light doesn't cover, right? Every shoot, every movie, right, has tons of lights behind the camera that you will never see, right? Just to get the perfect lighting to that scene, right? So that you have the perfect shadows, the perfect light color, the perfect white balance to the space, right? So these are called fill lights. So those lights can be used in the nighttime, and they can also be used in the daytime, right? Just to give a little bit more light in a room that maybe has smaller window, or maybe the sun is not really shining inside there. So you would take a fill light and drop it there, right? Let's say put it here. We can put it in the right place. Make it the color you want. It could be a white light to imitate the sun, right? We can do the intensity here, right? And you see, it almost looks like daytime here now, right? And again, this light, if this is my camera right here, I would put this light behind my camera, right? Just to shine a little bit more light into my space. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So that's the second type of light, or the third, we have the spotlight, the fill light, and these are just omni lights, that you can really do whatever color you want. The third light here is called area lights. These lights are almost like this here. If you look, let's look at let's see here. Again, they could be this because, these lights are a plane, right? So this could be an area light because, this is a rectangle shape, right? I think we saw one here where here I have some pretty good, you can see here, this is a rectangle shape, that's a plain light, right? This is a plain light over here, right? Again, these are lights are off camera, so you will never see them. But you can do a lot with these lights. So first of all, if I put one here, right? Let's say I put it here. Let's lift it up into space. This is the right? No, this is the wrong light. This is omni light. Sorry. This one. Okay. Here we go. So there's the light, right? Let's move it into space. And you see right now, it's a rectangle, right? So it gives the light off in this rectangle shape, right? If you go to the top right here, we can say light source on, right? And now we can see in the reflection here, we can see the reflection of that rectangle, right? Because maybe it's a light source or something you're creating. Again, we can do night activation. So if I were to place this light, let's say up here, right? Technically, we could try to imitate a light in the ceiling, right? For example, let's say this becomes, we can say, okay, the width is gonna be this, right? And we just made, a light in the ceiling, right? We can see the actual light source, right? Which is the white area. We can say, okay, off, so we don't see the light source, right? And we can increase the brightness of this light right here, like this. And as you go higher, the light starts to glow, right? So that's definitely look like a glowing light. So this is one way that you can easily make ceiling lights, right? In your space, right? And create things that are flat. These lights could be also on the floor, right? You can make patterns on the floor, right? So we can make the less brightness here. And it will glow less. The lights don't have to be this shape, They could also be used to create other things here, right? So for example, let's say from here to here, right? Maybe you want to create an LED light, right? So let's say I go back to here, right? And we pick, let's say this one here, the line light, right? Let's see here. So the line light is simply this, right? It's something that, and this actually could be pretty interesting, right? Because let me see. Looking for a sample here to show you guys. Here. So do a quick search for LED lights in the pavement, right? So things like this, right? We have the light strips that are embedded in the pavement, right? We have this here, a play of lights in the ground, right? This is used to define, a stop, that can all be used with these lights right here. This here, like a random pattern of lights, right? All that in simply like this. So let's say this light right now, first of all, is right on the same level as the floor. So that means it's not the best because you don't want to have things in the same level. So first thing is this light, select and just move it a tiny bit above the floor, right? And you see that the light's kind of pointing down, right? So first of all, I want to put the light source on, right? I want to rotate it so the light's pointing up, right? So let's do rotate. So we can see the light source, right? There. Next, I want to select the light. Just put it kind of a little bit above the ground. This gets a little bit tricky. There. Okay. And now we can do this. Let's say, okay, I'm gonna do the Alt key, right? Oops, no, let's select this one here. Sorry. Let's do select, move freely, Alt key. I'm gonna put one here, Alt key. And then we can do this, this one here. So we'll do it like a red light. This one we'll do like a blue light. We'll do like a green light. Yellow light. And something like purple, right? We can do the intensity of this light here. Play the intensity of that one. And that's a white light. So now what we made it's a pattern, right? And wherever you go, the pattern is going to be there, right? In the same way that we have a pattern of lights here, right? In this this thing here, right? So you can be, you can become pretty creative, making all these things, whether it's for a crosswalk light here or some artistic thing you do in your scene, right? These lights again can also be made to be any size that I want them to be, right? So for example, I can take, let's say, this blue light here. Let's copy it over here, right? Let's rotate it. Oops, not that way. Let's get closer here, sorry. Let's rotate it like this. So we can always double click here and put 90, right? 90 there, okay. And I'm gonna move it into place. Again, this is a little bit of a, and we need to make it face the other direction. So let's go, let's see, this one, yes. It's gonna face the other way, like this. Then we have to move it out a bit more. There. And the last thing is we got to make it fit our scene. So when you go here to the top right, we have the length, right? That defines the height. So let's make it a very thin light. And the width will go as much as we can. Well, we'll have to move it a little bit left and right. And the last, I need to just remove it here again. There. And now I have this, right? So, we can play with the brightness of this light like this. You see how it makes a pretty cool effect. And that could be used to imitate, those lights that we have, for example, here, right? In this area here, so for example, here. The lights here are by the water, right? We could again put the same thing up here, right? To make those things, like a glowing effect, It is a little tricky, as you guys see, that, try to get it in place, because there's really no snaps here, right? Like we have in other softwares. But we'll do it also a different way, we'll take a break soon and then you guys we'll try a different way also that we can try this. But that looks actually pretty nice. We can do one more here. You see how it affects the water, the color of the scene. Just to get a pretty cool effect here. What do you guys think? Any questions?
No, it looks good.
Yeah. Okay. So how else do you think we could use these lights besides? How can we get creative, for example? Besides the walls, the floors.
Lamps.
Yes, okay, we could do lamps, yes. So again, these things don't just have to be technically on the floor, you could have, many times they use vertical strips for lights, right? That also could be pretty interesting to use, right? They could be used also for lights in the ceiling, right? Let's see here, they could be used in the landscape. So that could be definitely be used for any of those things. And that's pretty much all we have for lights. There's only really 4 options. The rest is, each one can be modified to any color, any size, and and we can make it turn on or off depending, with that. So like at this point here, we could go back to over here, right? This scene obviously looks a little bit odd. Right now I'm in the rendering mode, right? And realistic really wouldn't be a mode that would work. So if I go here to a new camera, right? Let's say I like a view like this, It's something, find a cool shot here. Like this, we have a lot of lights here. I'll do capture, right? That's my view, right? Let's go here to custom style. In this case, there is a night mode, right? It doesn't always work that good, but let's try it, night mode here, right? So the night modes, it's a little bit overexposed, so first thing for the night mode, I will probably keep that. What I would do here is the sun right here. That part I don't want to have, right? So let's see if we can take that out. No. The sun of what I want. Yeah, I'm gonna just turn this off here. You see, and I want to add something here. I want to go to the effects and I'm going to add a sky, and I'll do a real sky. And then we can go here and do, let's say, like in a night sky, right? Let's try something like that. All right, there's my night sky. Although their night sky also is not that good because it looks very blurry. It looks really fake. So, and even though they have the ones here, I think I never use any of them because they all look really fake. So none of these really work for me for the sky. This one, maybe yes. We can lower the brightness of the sky. But I kind of like better the evening skies. I think they look more precise like that. And then of course, the main thing with this shot here is we have all this water right here, right? And right now we don't see anything here, right? Technically, we should be seeing this roof plane, right, on the water here. So if I go like here, let's say, this is a cool shot here. Nothing is being shown here. So this is where, again, it plays a big part, to play with the reflection mode, right? So first of all, let's go to shadows here and make it ultra sharp, right? That's fine. We can go to reflection, make it high to get a little bit more quality here. Okay. What else can we modify here? It's a little bit bright here, so we could play here with the exposure control, right? And just lower the exposure of the camera because I want to get the feeling of the evening shot, not so much something like this where everything is just really bright, So let's just lower this a little darker. It's like that, for example. And let's see if we can improve the quality of the water here, right? So let's again go to reflection, right? Go to edit reflection plane, right? And go to plus on the bottom left. I'm gonna add this plane, which is a major one, right? Let's also add this plane. Let's add this plane. Let's add this plane there, right? I think that covers all the major. You see how you can see here now, right? If you look down here, we can see the wall now, right? We can see this roof element now. So I think that's pretty good. Let's do check mark. And you see the difference now? Do you guys see what changed?
Yes, Professor.
So
Yeah.
pretty much everything here now, we have the lights shown here, right? We have the roofscape with every single detail above the water is now shown on the water. So this already will make it pretty cool rendering, more realistic. There's a mistake here with the roof, but that's probably just my mistake of how I placed it, not really a big deal. And yeah, I mean, those are the main things that are we're trying to address with these things here, right? Improving again, those settings are not really difficult, just a matter to fine tune your already, good renderings to make them look even better for this. All right. Well, let's say it's already 9:52. Actually, let's take like a 10-minute break. I need to get a glass of water. So let's come back around 10 minutes and we'll continue. All right, guys, thank you. All right, guys, you there?
Yes.
All right, let's do a little bit more here. Let me just, before I continue here, let me just recheck my attendance. So Bedur, are you there? Like today, there's a lot of people absent. Okay, so Bedur is absent. Giovanni?
I'm here, Professor.
Okay, perfect. Shirley? Dranika? Josue?
Here.
Okay, good. Jasmine? No, okay. And Darlene? All right, so I guess that's it. Okay. All right, good.
Professor,
Yes.
quick question. Do we have
Sure.
to post up anything in aluminum?
Not yet, no, because we're doing a next class. We are gonna next class. I do want to start a class by reviewing all your renderings. Yes. So I think
Oh, okay.
we'll have more things to show by next class. If you have stuff for today, then we can take a look at it, of course.
Yes, I posted.
Okay, so yeah. So let me finish here, and then we'll finish today by looking at your renderings and those things.
Okay.
All right, perfect. All right, so I'm recording again. So let's just do a little bit more. We're almost done. But lighting typically, it's a more time-consuming lecture because there's so many things you can do with lighting, right? All right, let's see here. So again, we discussed what the lighting that already comes with, with the program, right? The spotlights, fill lights, omni lights, all those things. The scene here outside also, is pretty, boring, right? There's nothing really much happening here. So we can always use other lights to make the scene better here, right? If you remember my 3D Max class, I would typically put a tree here, right? Just to give it a more effect, So let's say, for example, I go here and this tree, again, is very close to my camera. So for this shot, I'll use a fine detail nature tree, right? Which is, because just is one tree that I want to use here. Just because these trees are much better quality than the other ones here. Let's say I put one here, for example. There. So it gives a nice setting to the scene. So let's just kind of frame this shot here. This tree, let's maybe move it a little bit more. Okay. So what can we do here with lighting to make the scene a little better, right? If you go here to outdoor stuff, right? You might find, there's a little thing here called lighting, right? So it has a few things that are preset already with here, right? Some things, let's say like here we have a garden lamp, right? So if I take this garden lamp, let's say I put it here, for example, right? It's a pretty small thing, right? And it will be glowing by itself because it's already a lamp, right? That could be used to give it more detail. We could, take this lamp and, scale it a little bit higher just to make it bigger. So it looks like, more in line with the, with this, right? And then we can take this lamp, and then we can add something to it. Now we can, go to lights here. Right, let's go to spotlights. So we take this one here and we just click on the light here, right? Like before, we'll do the whole thing of the rotation here. We'll increase the brightness. We'll make the cone less. There we go. So give it some tree, some effects right here, right? Maybe give it an orange light to make it more natural looking, right? There, so we have something effect with that tree. So we can take, existing objects in Lumion, right? This, and combine them with, let's say, with lights in our scene, right? If you go to those lights, those things here again, let's see here. There's other ones that can be used also. We have, there's lamps, right? A few things for the ground. Let's say if we have something like this, that like this is a street lamp, right? For example, let's say I put it over here, for example. So this street lamp, actually, what happened to this one here? A second. Let me go to lights. Okay. Shadow lights source on. high. Brightness, okay. Okay, that's fine. So in this case, I wouldn't have, you see here, when I turned on the source, in this case, because we already have a source, which is this lamp, so I'm just gonna turn off the light source. So we see only the light here, right? I mean, technically, I should be rotating also this thing to make it look better, right? If we go into really the fine details, I will take this object here, rotate it. So it's facing the actual space. And take the light here. And place it in front of it. Not because if you put it inside it, the light starts to be, it disappears within the space. So, something as close as possible here. And that's, you see, there is gone. So let's move it a little more. There. Then we should be able to just kind of rotate it a little bit here. There we go. So now it's pointing at the tree, right? And now we can decrease the brightness here to make it not so crazy. All right, so that's pretty much the light. This light here, again, these counts with Lumion, right? These lights are not the, let me put it over here, for example. So how can we make this light look more realistic, right? It's a light post, right? So what do you guys think we could do here to make it better? What could I use for this? Come on, just take a guess. From the things we have today, or things we learned today in class, how could I make this lamppost more realistic? What could I use?
What is the Omni fill light?
Yeah, let's try that. Let's try, yeah, a spotlight wouldn't work because, it's a spotlight. But yeah, let's try an Omni light, right? Like this, like a white one. Put it, somewhat there. Just drop it close enough, then now we'll select it. And first of all, we'll play with the brightness, right? The light here. The only thing that I guess is not the best thing of this is that an Omni light doesn't have a source, right? So it doesn't really look like it's a light bulb in there, right? That's the one thing that, will be kind of a little bit fake. We can do the fall off here to control how far the light spreads. We can see here. So that doesn't look too bad, a little bit here. If we go too far out, if we go all the way down, that means the light goes on forever, right? So we have to control a little bit the light source. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not the best thing because we can't see an actual bulb in there, right? A few lights do have stuff that can be applied there, but let's see, what else can I use here? I'm trying to think how we can fix this. Let's see, outdoor stuff. No, nothing really. There's really no model here for like a light bulb that we could use for this. Let's see here. I mean, many times, what I'll do is I'll bring my own model from 3D Max, right? Where I can actually define a layer that is meant to be a light bulb, and here I can, I can make it glow, right? That could work pretty well also for these things, right? Besides, using whatever's here. These lights, the garden lamps, they do have self-glowing effects, so they'll work fine. And the rest, there's a bit of, limitation there with those lights. Also, last thing I want to cover here is in case you're working in 3D Max, right? For example, here. So let's say here, and you're gonna have more control with the lights, right? You are able to do it here. So for example, this thing is not placed correctly. Let's do a light around the perimeter of the space, right? I think that could be done fairly easy here. Okay, so imagine that you want to put a light that is following the perimeter of the ceiling, right? Let's say here, right? All around the whole ceiling, right, on both sides. So again, it's probably more difficult in Lumion because we have to put a light and kind of move it up and down, left and right, until it's right. But what we could do here is, let's say we select this one and this, right, and do isolate, right? What I'm gonna do here is let's make a line, right? For example, let's do a line, right? And I'm gonna turn on my snaps, right? Let's say I draw a line along the bottom here. So I'm gonna do F3 so I can see, right? Follow the whole bottom perimeter that we have there, right? There. Now this line I'm going to convert to an object, right? So the line was being selected, you know, I can go to modify here, right? And on the rendering mode, right, I can go to enable in render, enable in viewport. That's gonna make it into a 3D element, right, like this. So, you know, by default, it could be something radial like a cylinder, or it could be like a rectangle like this. You know, I'm gonna make it a rectangle to mimic like an LED, you know, light strip. So first thing is, you know, the height, you know, doesn't have to be much, you know, very simple, thin strip, you know, like this. Maybe it's like an inch, inch and a half. Let's make it 1 inch. There it is. Right. Then we have the thickness of the shape, right? So in this case right now, we might want it to be enough so it actually goes past this. So, you know, I'm not even doing that much detail. Let's say like that. That's the first one, right? There it is. And the next thing I want to do here is I want to give this thing a material that makes it different than the rest, right? So actually, before I do that here, you know, if I export this line to me, it's not going to work because technically this is still a line, right? All I did was make it enable renderer, which means it turns the line into a shape. What I want to do is I want to collapse this object and make it into an official, you know, 3D model. So for that, you know, select the object, right click it and do convert to editable mesh, right? That's going to make it into an actual shape, right? That we can use, right? And now, you know, this shape, I could take it, you know, and let's say put it in the right place. So maybe I'll make it a little bit higher. Like there, let's say, for example. Before that, you know, let's move also, let's do the same thing over here. So again, I'll do a line. I'm doing F3 so I can see the geometry. And you see, it's already keeping my last setting. So it's already making it, you know, it's fairly 3D. All right, and do yes. Next, you know, before you do anything else, you don't forget to select it, right click it, convert to editable mesh. All right, so now these are actual 3D models, right? So now I can take this one here and I can take the other one here and do, you know, group as LED light, whatever. Next, I'm going to open the material tab, right? And let's make a new material. Let's copy this one here. We're going to call this LED. You know, let's give it a color. Select it and apply, right? So now that layer has its own element, right? And we see here, it's a little bit too low here, so we're gonna have to raise it up. So let's go select it. Let's do right click on the selection mode. And I'm going, I think, in the Z direction. Let's put it kind of above the area here. All right, so this is an actual shape, right? And because it's an actual shape that we made in 3D Max is very precise, right? All right, so again, just like before, right? Save the file, minimize 3D Max, right? And here I'll do, again, go here to the Import Models tab on the bottom left, click on the, select this one, and again, click on the refresh tool here. Give it a second.
Professor?
Yes.
Since I saved it as an FBX, this doesn't work, right? Like
It should work, yeah, pretty much. You will have to go back to the file and make a new FBX and call it the same name. So in a way, you want to override the other FBX,
right.
and it will work the same way. Yes.
And the materials and all that still stay.
Exactly. Yes. That will, as long as you don't change any material names, right? It will all stay the same.
Okay.
All right, so here's the thing, right? We came back now, we have this kind of line, right? Across my roof, right? It's very precise. It follows the entire perimeter of both my roofs, right? If I try to do this with these lights over here, like these little ones over here, it'll be, you know, a nightmare. It will be really hard to be precise in getting those things aligned perfectly. And you see that it was kind of difficult making this one over here, right? So what we can do here is, now that that is applied to that, we can go to materials, right? We can select that element, right? And we can, you know, we can do something, right? Let's say we do, you know, color might not be as precise, but let's see if we can do something. So we have color map, no, yeah, color. I'm gonna pick here. So we'll do a color, let's say of blue, right? Make it like a blue light. There it is, right? Let's see if we can do anything else here. No, actually that wouldn't work because we need, so let's go to indoor actually, and we'll pick something from here. Let's go indoor. Let's try something that is plain. Let's try like a plaster. We're trying to kind of, you know, let's put the plaster here. Okay, I'm gonna get very close here so you guys can see here. Okay, there it is, right? So let's say we try to use this one here. I'm gonna pick that one. I'm gonna lower the scale to nothing. So it becomes like a plane, right? And then under colorization here, let's see if we can do something here. That doesn't do much there. Let's go to, I'm trying to improvise here, see how we can get this to work. And the position doesn't matter, orientation doesn't matter, transparency. Here's where we can use this, you know, so there we go. And again, we might be able to use do like a white light, but it could work. Let's go here. So here, if we have the material here, remember that under this fourth category called settings here, right? We have the emissive value setting that typically is always off, right? The setting is only there to make stuff glow, right? So if we increase the setting here, right? We're now making that whole line glow in like this, right? So we can easily now give the whole edge of the roof this kind of glowing effect here, right? It is kind of limited to a white light because of the glowing effect, but it's still, you know, a good way to. So if I go back now, let's say to my photo mode here, right? Here's the detail, right? Where's it here? We have this here. Again, it looks a little bad here because of the way that it's setting. But let's say if I do a test rendering, for example, here, let's do a desktop size. Let's see how that looks. So it'll be more precise, right? The line here, and it has the glowing effect, you know. So this is a very quick way by using the 3D Max models to create, you know, glowing planes, glowing areas, glowing lights, you know, more than just trying to take this light from Lumion and try to move it, you know, very. It's that you can't really snap it, so it has to be, you know, plus or minus, and you're gonna play with it a little bit here. This will give you a very quick, precise setting if you want to get like a white light effect in the scene. And it's done, you know, that's, you know, and now, you know, because there, it gives you a pretty cool effect also around here, right? It gives you more lines in the water. So sometimes you have to get kind of creative, you know, and see how you can take whatever is here and try to use it for a different, you know, purpose, right? That could benefit your, you know, the thing you're trying to work on, you know, the rendering things. Same thing here, right? If I want to have, you know, well, I'm just trying to think here how we could use the color here. So yeah, the color, we can't do much there with that. I know there are ways that we can use, let's try again, you know, and then we'll finish the class off here, but I want to see if I can do something better with this. So let's select the light, right? Let's select something that already has a color here. Maybe that'll work. So indoor, where can we get color here? We have, let's try this blue here, right? This kind of carpet blue, right? If we go to this carpet blue, and if I reduce the map scale, right, we get just blue, right? That's a little bit reflective. Glossiness, we don't need it. Colorization doesn't do much there. Position, we have So let's try again, give it the emissive value, right? Now it's still gonna be mostly white, but a little more blue, if you guys can see that, because here, let's see, specular level, saturation, there we go. If I play with the saturation there, which means take whatever blue I already have there to make it more blue, that'll work. Specular, flicker, doesn't really matter. Emissive value, it's really glowing there now. Okay, so now there we got a blue by using, so we use a carpet map. We remove the map scale, so it became just a simple base color. Then we increased the saturation of the color, and we did the emissive value, and that gave me a blue light. Again, not the most typical source, but you have to kind of invent whatever you can to make it work to your needs. So now we have that, right? And you can try that, with other things in the scene here. What do you guys think? Any questions?
No questions.
Now you guys, is everything kind of clear today with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, definitely, in the next class, I do want to go over everyone's rendering. So we'll look at today a little bit, but I want to see everyone, because right now we're covering, and just try to do it once in daytime, nighttime, at this point, experiment with these things, right? I think we could do maybe one more class here or so before we're just going to focus completely on Twinmotion, right? And actually, they just released a new version, which is a lot better because they improved the rendering engine that they have. So it's now starting to look very close to V-Ray. And, we can do a lot of cool things there because it has a few extra features than Lumion, right? So it should be a nice thing to experiment. Yeah, one thing we still haven't done here is this thing here, right? I think we can do it, in the next class. I don't want to put too much here, but we have to convert this to a translucent piece of glass that we can do easily. And the main thing is, try to catch up, and really experiment with lights here, right? To see what everything does, and get, in a way, you have to get creative with this, right? To see how you can use things that are not meant for a certain thing, to make it work in your favor. Is there anyone here that wants to share any renderings today?
Yeah.
All right, let me
Yeah.
all right, let me go back to let's see, 3592. All right, so who wants to share? So I can go from my side here. So you just Bedur. Is it Josue, right? You want to share some drawings?
Yeah.
All right, so they're in the Lumion, right? Under today. Okay, perfect. Okay, nice. And you added the well, you had this from before, right? From your class, right?
Yeah, that was from before.
Okay. Yeah, I thought about doing that today, but that was just gonna take too much time. Okay, so that's good. Shadows look great. Same here. The only thing here that this tile looks like it has a very thick
Yeah.
route line. Maybe it was
Because I think it's supposed to be small, but
Yes.
I scaled it up.
So one thing that we haven't done yet here is right now we've been using all the materials from Lumion, right? But just like 3D Max, we are able to make also custom material, right? And we'll do that, next time, just so in case, you have your own material that you're also able to use that in your scene, right? This is a great shot. I love the lighting, the shadows. And did you use some of those filters?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember we made those slides here, I think that in your class. Those came out good. Yeah, these things we made, right? It'd be cool if you gave it like a wood material, right? And then maybe on top of this candle, if you made like a little, like a small sphere, right, in 3D Max. So when you bring it here, you can apply to that sphere the emissive value. So it will look like it's glowing, like a candlelight.
Right.
That could be a nice thing to try out. Otherwise, really nice renderings. Nice. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, who else wants to show?
I could go next.
Can you just tell me names? It's very hard to make out, who's who from the
Buddy,
audio. Okay, 1 second.
right on top of Josh.
Josh. So today my
Josh.
eyes.
Graciela Marin.
There we go.
Right there.
Okay. Max Lumian. If you can't later, try to make a folder, right? So it's for today's date. Okay,
Okay.
nice. Okay, like an evening setting. That's pretty cool. How'd you get the slide over here? This from the
I was
Did
going
it-
through the settings and I was looking through the IES, right? So I found that.
so you put an IS light here.
Yes. Actually, it's
Gotcha.
on corner top
Okay,
of the wall. So yeah. So I had to
Yes.
fix the
gotcha. Okay,
That's
but
why.
it's pointing down for the statue, right?
yes.
Okay, okay. You just want to get kind of maybe the shadows of the statue there. But
Mhm.
okay. This is a pretty cool shot, very dramatic shot. I like it. Yeah. Don't think the water, again, the things we covered today, we can actually select planes, right, for the reflections. I think those things will definitely start to improve the quality of your renderings here. Because right now,
Right.
you can't see the statue reflected in the water, right?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Oh, I like this one here. I like the how this looks here, the water. You definitely apply here the realistic settings, right?
Yes, I did.
Effect, okay. Did it really affect your rendering time a lot or?
Actually, I had to do some little tweaking
Yeah.
here and there, but this is all I did as a Photoshop as well.
Photoshop, okay.
Yes.
So from Lumion, you went to Photoshop and you play with the lighting, those things.
Yes, I play with
Okay,
curves as well. I played around a little bit with the what is it called? Camera raw filter.
okay, yes, yes.
Camera.
Okay. You didn't try playing with that in Lumion, right? We have, there's also
Yeah.
there an exposure control, those things. Yeah.
No, yes, I tried to play around with it, but it's not giving me what exactly I wanted.
Okay, all right. That's fine too,
So
yeah.
a little help
Yeah,
with Photoshop to help a little bit.
okay, good. Yeah, that's fine too, yes. All right, looks excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else?
You can open mine, Rafia,
Rafi,
the second one.
okay. I think maybe I would try a different watercolor. Something maybe with more clear, so we see
mhm.
kind of the tower, right? But yeah, I love the trees all around. The shadows look really nice. This you made it like a dark matter, right? Color, not so much chrome.
Okay.
Okay, this looks much better. Very nice. Oh, this looks actually almost like the real one, right? The material. The good thing is you already have here, because you were in my class, this area right here. So you should be able to put some lights here pointing up, right? I know today I didn't do it in class, but yeah, you can definitely put those lights on pointing up throughout if you already have this model in class.
Okay, sure.
Okay. All right. Nice. Oh, I love this shot here. It looks fun. This one looks really crisp, very nice, very realistic. The effects are like the shadows. The water looks really good. It has, a little bit of green, which is nice because it's what happens to this water when you go see it. So yeah, really nice. How long did it take for you to render these shots? Just I'm curious.
Not that long.
No?
No.
And what size did you use?
I think the print size. I don't know.
Print. Okay, this actually to me I love the shot the most. I don't know why. I love the lighting of this shot. I love the shadows. How they interact with the chair, right? And how I can imagine myself sitting here looking out towards the scene here. So yeah, definitely great shot. This I think is framed really well. The shot.
Thank you.
All right,
Professor.
excellent. Thank you. Great job. Anyone else?
Yeah.
You
Can I go
can-
next?
Sure.
Emmanuel? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, great shadows, yes. I guess here, this is a little bit strange, I guess from when you were playing with the landscape, right? Building up,
Yeah.
this may be either lowered, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, great shadows, it's like definitely nice. We have a line here that creates this kind of shadow line here. The statue looks great. Okay. The carpet looks really cool, it became more like a shag carpet, right? But it looks very fluffy. Also, this material looks really good here. Kind of resembles the original one that's there.
Yeah.
I think everyone can now start to definitely, when you take your shots, do the effect, of selecting the planes, right? Just to improve the quality of all your glossy, elements here. Okay. Nice. Yeah, this is the only thing that looks a little bit weird, but besides that, everything looks great.
This guy?
No, that the whatever these things are, mountains or something that looks like a canyon, right?
Okay.
The landscape looks good. You have the ivy growing there. So, all right, excellent. So just try the lights, and try the reflective values for the next time.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Could I
Yeah,
go,
me,
Professor?
Professor.
Just let's see here. Victor?
Yeah, I have work, yes.
Okay, let's see here. Today, okay, perfect. Nice. So you really worked on the side, right? So you guys can try to experiment to change the surroundings. So I love the mountainscapes you made. It gives it a very nice, like depth of feeling, because here's the building, right? I can see the people here, the chairs, the lake, has a very nice environment. Nice job.
Thank you.
Same thing
I
with
try
the
to
suns.
change, yeah, the time of day.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. You tried the same shot under different conditions. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Very nice.
On the other folder, I have different views of the building.
Okay. Excellent. Let me try the other one. Okay, you got some of the inner shots. Okay, perfect. This one looks a little bit, I don't know, maybe overscaled, the material. That's the other one. But this one here looks really nice, the reflective value here.
Right.
So maybe this one make the scale a little bit smaller. This is a great shot. You have the light rays coming from the top left. Yeah, I think the same thing. Just this one here a little bit overscaled. But everything else looks really nice. Yeah, excellent job.
Thank you.
And who else wanted to go next? Sorry.
I did, Professor. Giovanni.
Giovanni, where are you? Here we go. Let's start with today's date. Cool. What's this?
It's just a model I found that I thought would fit.
Okay. And you put some fish in the in there. Okay.
Yeah.
What is this in the back? Like this line here?
It's the context. I actually put it on the site.
You put the gotcha. Okay, so the actual like 3D buildings. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. Okay. Okay, nice. You put a lot of detail on the inside, the lights. That's a cool shot, yeah, with the lights. This is the back of the space.
Mhm.
This is nice, yeah, with the chairs and everything. I guess the context, looks strange because you see only like a like a line, right? For example, you got some sheep there. I mean, right now this is fine because you guys can just kind of experimenting, right, with these things. Eventually, once we make our final renderings, right, we'll try to make everything a bit more realistic, right, with the things we're doing, right. Like I would take out the fish because it just looks distracting in the shot. But for now, I'm glad you're experimenting what how to use them, for example, right.
Yeah.
But looks great. Let's see if let's check the other ones here. Okay, definitely. I see all the context you added. This was in Barcelona, or was it a different
Yes.
content? Okay.
No, it's in Barcelona.
Okay, good. Cool. You tried the rain, okay. like sometimes with the trees, one thing that, it's pretty simple to use, but when you guys doing the buildings here, I always try to select trees that are not too, I don't know, dramatic, right? Because then your eye starts to compete between, the trees and the building, right? So again, you want always the building to be the main focus, right? So try to find trees that are, more typical, right? That they look nice, but, typically when you add color, they start to compete against the building, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a nice shot. All right, excellent job. Thank you. And did I miss anyone else in class?
Yeah, me, Professor Eduardo.
Eduardo. Okay,
No, I don't think that was.
no? Let's see, who did I pick here? I'm sorry, that was Emmanuel. Eduardo. Okay. All right, cool. So you added people for interaction. Nice. Okay. You added also context, right? I see the building over here, right? For this.
Yeah, I added the context. That's what I
Okay.
was telling you. Like I couldn't mess with the ground. for some
Got you.
reason.
Okay.
Now I know it's just the site.
Okay. Nice, yeah. But like this, because this statue is the main focus, sometimes, what I would do is I would take this chair and I would turn it so it's facing the statue, right? So then we get, the people interacting with the actual space. Okay, that's nice. And here it's dark. This is the wall right here, right?
Yeah, I think there's a wall there.
Okay. Okay. It looks like a meteorite that hit over here more than a
Yeah.
rock.
It was an interesting rock, so I just decided
It
to
is,
put it in
yeah.
the middle.
Okay, I mean, it's fine right now to experiment. I see, definitely cars from the context, right, of the site. Okay. Actually, man, I'm glad you tried that because I know when I tried it, the context didn't work in my sense, but it's good to use once in a while. But all right, very
Yeah,
good.
I tried it out to see how it looked. It took a little while to load, but I had some time, so I just let
Okay.
it load.
I think we'll try also the context in the next program, which has a bit more of options than Lumion, but overall, looks great, the renderings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think that's it, right? Anyone else that I miss? No, okay. Guys, so the work looks really nice, I know today we did our main focus for today was lights, right? Different types of lights, and the second thing was how to get better renderings through improve reflections, right? And so definitely try that out because the one thing that Lumion, I guess is slower is at getting the V-Ray quality, right? And the best way to do it is by, once you hear in the photo mode, right, is to select the reflection tab and go to edit reflection planes and select the planes around your shot. That will definitely improve the quality of everything you're seeing, right? So try that for the next shot. And of course, experiment with lights, and see those things there. And I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Unless there's any other comments or questions for today.
I'm good.
You're good. All right.
Yep, sounds good, Professor. Thank
All
you.
right, guys. Thank you very much, guys. Keep
Thank
practicing.
you, Professor.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you, Professor.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.